Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is the next in our series of Q&A questions. These are questions that came primarily from our Patreon member, but also from YouTube viewers. So they're both going to be in there. And these are going to be, we're going to answer these questions as honestly as they come in. So if it's an honest question, we're going to answer it honestly. If it's a silly question, you could expect a silly ass answer. If you want to see the full version of these videos, they will be available on Patreon. All right. And let's begin.
Okay, this first one comes from Patreon member Javier.
Hello, Javier.
Hello, Javier. What are good paying jobs out there without a degree? Like, I plan to move there sometime soon. Hopefully you do. I am a glazier installer here in Texas and a physical trainer, but no degree. Should I just get a degree then go to Europe? Thanks for your time. Good paying jobs without a degree. Yeah, I think there probably are.
I'm trying to think of one that isn't.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to find a not good paying job. See, the thing is, you're not going to have to pay for as much stuff here as you do in the U.S. So, you know, in the U.S., you can't live on minimum wage or even much more than that. So you have to have a really good paying job just to get by in the U.S., unfortunately. Here, you can make slightly above minimum wage and be totally fine. I mean, you can have your own apartment, you can pay rent, you have transportation. Whether or not you have a car is up to you. You don't need one, but you can pay your bills, you can buy your food. You know, you don't have to make 100,000 euros a year just to have a nice life. You know, so. But as far as good paying jobs without a degree, yeah, I've seen plenty of jobs being offered that don't require a secondary education. Some of them might require training. You might have to have like a certificate or something like that. A lot of jobs offer training that you can take advantage of. But yeah, there's plenty of jobs that have decent pay that don't require a degree.
And doesn't it come down to your expectations? I mean, what one person considers to be a good paying job is very different than another. I can tell you that, me personally, in the U.S., when I got out of prison, I went to work for a particular restaurant chain, got promoted to shift manager, and absolutely, I was not making enough to live on my own. I had to live with somebody else. Absolutely not. Came to Europe, got the same exact job with a European company that actually operates the same restaurant chain, and all of a sudden I was able to live on my own. I would say standard of living is higher here,
much higher,
but cheaper in some regards. And I do not have a degree in the job that I have right now, but in the space of 3 years I was promoted 4 times and with no degree in my field, and now I make an excellent living. So it's possible to, and again, it depends on your expectations. Don't expect to get off the plane and end up with a job that pays, you know, what I'm getting. You're going to have to work hard at it.
Yeah, keep in mind you're an immigrant. You're coming here as an immigrant. So without advanced special education or certifications, you're going to get an immigrant job. If you speak fluent German,
you're in great shape.
Yeah, you could pretty much get any job you want. So it's going to come down to language a lot of times. I mean, the better the language you speak, the more you're going to make.
But this man said he was a glazier.
Yeah, a glazier installer.
I would think here that's a booming job because of all the construction.
If you can find it and they're willing to take you without knowing a lot of German, then by all means, you know, you probably can. Physical trainer. There's not as many gyms here as there are in the U.S.
No?
Not even close. No. In the U.S., there's so many chain gyms, and they're everywhere, almost like Starbucks. But here, they're not quite as many. And my guess is because Germans aren't as obsessed with physical fitness the way the U.S. is. Because I mean, I shouldn't say it like that.
I was going to object.
Because Germans do go for walks, runs, hikes.
They're
they
much more
ride bikes.
athletic here.
Yeah, they're athletic naturally. They don't go to a gym as
Per
much,
se, yeah.
I guess, as the U.S. And that's probably a vanity thing. So there is a little bit of a difference. But a physical trainer, I mean, you could freelance as one. You know, if you can get contracts.
Can you get a visa with that?
Yes, if you can freelance and you can get enough contracts, then you can get a visa just doing that. You're going to have to promote yourself, you know, make a website, get out there and meet people who are going to hire you to be a physical trainer for them. And I guess you could do that. It's not, I mean, that wouldn't be a terrible job. So.
Who asked that question?
That was Javier.
Thank you, Javier.
But to get a degree, I mean, if you have the ability to get a degree, go for it. If not, try to come here with a student visa.
A degree can only help.
And yeah, I mean, a degree will help you, but at the same time, definitely try to learn German. That I will always say.
That is the key.
Okay, this one is from Jeff. Name spelled British way.
Jeff with a G. Okay.
Yeah. Do I have any chance of qualifying for residency in Germany if I have two separate convictions?
Is this a multi-part question? Because the immediate answer is yes, of course.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we could say that. I mean, I've known people here with multiple convictions that have had no problems. A lot of it comes down to the nature of the offense.
Yes.
How long ago it occurred.
Yes.
And the type of punishment.
Yes.
Received. So
yes.
That answers that part. I'm not sure if I should read the next part.
Oh, do read. Read.
Just so you know, Jeffrey, this is the question that you asked specifically, and just so you are aware that we are going to read this online here. First conviction occurred in 1989. I'm not going to say the charges.
Are they pertinent? Keep in mind that in answering these questions in this video, we can only kind of give general answers, generally speaking. Yeah. So if people have specific questions to their specific cases, then it's best to just contact us privately.
Right.
But if you submit a question knowing we're going to read it on the air, which everybody who submitted these questions knew, and I said at the beginning of the video, if you're going to ask an honest question, we're going to give an honest answer. So, child, please read.
Okay.
Because I'm curious.
First conviction occurred in 1989 for criminal sexual contact and sexual assault, and the second offense occurred in 2014.
That's more recent.
Yeah, in London, and that was attempted grooming and child pornography charges. I will be 60 in a few months, and sadly, I think my window of opportunity has passed me by. What do you think?
What is attempted grooming? I mean, you either groom somebody or you don't.
The problem with that is the language is being hijacked by certain types of people, and the word grooming has just been totally bastardized.
Okay.
Now
let's just say it's simply
talking to a child can be classified as grooming.
Well, that's my point.
And
at what point is it literally
shame.
Grooming?
That is, it attempted grooming.
Attempted. That's like attempted conspiracy. I've actually heard this before. How do you attempt to conspire? You either do or you don't. Because the moment you open your mouth to do it, it's conspiracy. Yeah. There is no attempting.
Attempted grooming. That is the worst thing. I think I've
But then again, my mind is going places now, so probably best to leave it alone.
I don't even understand how that's a thing. Attempted grooming.
Not only is it a thing, should it be a thing? But that's a whole different topic. But 2014 would be 13 years
charges.
Ago?
Yeah, no, about 10 years ago.
2014, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And under German law, if it's non-violent and older than 10 years.
Yeah, the first one he said was in 1989.
That's no problem.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be so bad. And the 10-year-old crime was from London or from England. And,
everything's a crime in England.
Yeah, what you listed there probably wouldn't be terrible.
If we read it on its face.
Yeah. The biggest thing is your age.
Old enough to work.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to come here, you're going to have to work, but you have to work for at minimum 5 years, until you'll be able to stay permanently. So I don't know how you feel about that at 60.
But we have 2 employees right now over 60. One turned 60 yesterday.
I have, yeah.
We have at least 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to work, and they're immigrants themselves. I mean, they're not Americans, obviously, but they're 60 or over, and they're working. So you have to work full time because you can't retire. We answered that in a previous video. You can't come here.
I think you can retire after you've worked here.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to work in and contribute into the National Retirement Fund, similar to Social Security, and you can collect your Social Security from the U.S.
Or is he British?
Well, that's a good thing. He doesn't say. It just says the second offense was in England, but it doesn't say about the first one.
All the better if they're in 2 different jurisdictions. So I think in principle we're saying that it's not, your ship is not sailed. I don't think the window's closed.
Yeah, you can always try. I mean, you can always come over and test the waters and see if it works out for you. And, hopefully you have a plan B or a place you can go back to if it doesn't work. But
yeah, London won't be that place.
Yeah. You're never going to know unless you try. I mean, there's so many different circumstances that people have that we can't possibly answer every single scenario. That's just we don't work for the Ausländerbehörde. There's no way we could make that decision.
And even when it gets too complicated for us, we contact our lawyer. That
is true. There's always legal help available if you need it.
No.
So
thank you for the question, Jeff.
Yes.
And best of luck to you. Let us know what you decide to do.
Hope it works out for him. Okay, this next question comes from Overwatch.
Ova or over?
Well, you'd think it'd be over because Overwatch, but I don't.
Over like ovary?
Yeah, like
ovary watch?
Over. OVE. Watch. Overwatch.
Whatever. Okay, Overwatch.
Will I still be able to get a student visa with a record? Okay. Are there any other countries in the EU that would be as friendly as Germany, such as the Netherlands, Spain, Italy, or France?
Yeah.
I would assume you'd be under the same scrutiny as anybody applying for a visa. If you have a record, they might scrutinize it. Depends on what it is, really. So I think your chances would be the same as anybody else's.
I do too. And Germany's very open to foreign students.
And immigrants in general.
Apparently.
Yeah. Are there other countries in the EU that would be as friendly as Germany? Of the countries you listed, Netherlands, Spain, Italy, and France wins, hands down. Because the Netherlands, Spain, and Italy are very much anti-immigrant at the moment.
At the moment. That's a recent development.
So...
And I would have said, if you'd have asked me a year ago, I would have said Norway, Sweden, Denmark, absolutely. Probably friendlier than the U.S. However, if you've seen some of the other videos we put out recently, there is a strong anti-immigration wave flowing through politics in Europe right now. But let's be clear what we're talking about. These groups are not talking about Americans or the British or the Canadians or the Australians. Okay? That's not what we're talking about. It's not what they're talking about. And there's also a difference between legal immigration, which is what we're talking about, versus illegal immigration. And governments here, I'm not even going to say governments, citizens, residents here have kind of reached the tipping point on this issue of illegal immigration. And it is becoming as much an issue here as it is in the United States. Only here, I think it's even much more of a problem than in the United States. So you're seeing this anti-immigration wave, but we're talking about illegal immigration. If we're talking about just getting student visas, work visas, family visas like he's got, what have you, that's still very much on the board. And there are many countries friendlier than Germany.
Yeah, but not those three that you listed.
No, the further south you get, the more difficult, because those countries, and specifically, are dealing with hundreds of thousands of immigrants coming over in boats and crossing from Turkey into Greece, coming from Africa and the Middle East and South Asia. South Asia being India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So those countries are becoming much more difficult to get into, where the northern countries are still, if we're talking about legal immigration, are still open-minded.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. Portugal might be a decent one.
I hear a lot of good things about Portugal.
Eastern Europe is probably the easiest because they just want people to come live there.
Because nobody wants to go there. Hang on.
Literally, the people are just leaving those countries and
coming to Germany.
They're coming west. So Eastern European countries like Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, by all means, Czechia, Poland not so much, because Poland really is becoming anti-immigrant too. Certain immigrant, they're anti-certain immigrant, and
they're working closely with Germany and Denmark on that issue.
But so I mean, there's Eastern European countries where you're not going to make as much money, but you could probably still have a decent standard of living if you're willing to work. And you're going to have to learn the language because there's probably not a lot of English speakers.
Let me add a caveat, because I absolutely agree with what he's saying, with one caveat. If you are an open member of the LGBT community, cross it off your list.
That didn't come to my mind.
Period. You being the gayest straight man I know. Cross those countries off your list. And I'm talking about Hungary, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Bulgaria, no. Romania, no. No.
Yeah, those are very strict. They're somewhat religious or mostly religious countries. So
well, they are actively enacting legislation persecuting homosexuals, LGBT members. So if you're a member of that community, as I am,
or if you're a straight white male like I am, that would be just fine for you. If you choose. And his last question is, have you ever successfully used reputation management websites to push down negative search results of yourself? Or have you done it yourself?
This is Javier still?
No, this is Overwatch.
Overwatch.
This is his last question.
Overwatch. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had that question before.
I don't know anybody that's done that.
I don't, but we have, you and I personally have created online websites for the purpose of giving better search results, but Europe just isn't America.
Yeah, that really depends, because over here negative search results aren't going to come up on you as much as they would in the US, because the European Datenschutz will just filter out
the Datenschutzgesetz.
A lot of that crap. Yeah.
Protects your Datenschutzgesetz is a specific law in Germany that protects your privacy. Period. Because where in the United States you do not have an actually enumerated, specified right to privacy under the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, here in Germany there is, and they take it seriously. So seriously that when I write emails at work to the finance department or to the personnel department talking about particular employees of mine, whatever, whether it's talking about their health insurance or talking about their paycheck wasn't right, I'm not allowed to use their names. I'm not even allowed to use their names. My employees' name tags now have had their last names removed because it's protection of their privacy rights. But keep in mind also in Europe, there is this right to disappear, right to be forgotten. And you actually, if you are a resident of Europe, you have the right to inform Google that you are asserting your right to be forgotten. And they have to remove negative things off the internet. They have to block it from European servers. So definitely a better place to be.
It certainly is. So, but thank you.
I'm sorry if I jumped on you.
No, not at all. That's wonderful. That was a great way to answer the last of his questions. So
thank you, Overwatch or Overrewatch, whatever.
But that's going to do it for this episode. That's all the questions we have for today. So we will get back again soon, and we will get more questions prepared for you. So thank you for watching. And please feel free to join us on Patreon if you have any specific questions to your specific case that you would like answered, because obviously here, unless you're willing to have your case discussed online, on YouTube, which I'm okay with, if you're okay with it, then that's the best way to go. Until next time, my friends, I have to say it.
If you're not happy with your situation, do something about it. And we'll give you the tools to do it. Till next time, my friends. Cheers.
Ciao.